In the brief but memorable spring of 1981, a small cast of talented actors brought Florence Johnston's hotel adventures to life in the short-lived sitcom, Checking In. What viewers couldn't have known was that this charming four-episode spin-off would become a bittersweet time capsule final showcase for several beloved performers whose curtain calls would come far too soon. From the wisecracking housekeeper to the stern hotel owner, these actors filled the St. Frederick Hotel with laughter, never knowing that fate had already checked some of them out permanently. Larry Linville brought his sharp comedic timing and natural ability to play uptight authority figures to the role of Lyle Block, the stuffy hotel manager in Checking In. Even though the show only lasted 4 episodes, Linville's performance as Florence's perpetually frustrated boss showcased the same brilliant character work that had made him a household name on MASH. His portrayal of Block, a man trying desperately to maintain order while Florence turned his world upside down with her sharp wit and rebellious spirit, gave viewers a glimpse of what might have been if the series had continued. Born Lawrence Lavone Linville on September 29, 1939, in Ojai, California, he originally studied aeronautical engineering at the University of Colorado before discovering his true calling in theater. After winning a scholarship to study at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, Linville returned to the United States and began building his acting career at the Barter Theater in Virginia, where he spent years honing his craft in repertory theater. Television audiences first got to know Linville through guest appearances on popular shows like Bonanza, Mission Impossible, and Mannix during the late 1960s and early 1970s. However, his career-defining role came in 1972 when he was cast as Major Frank Burns on MASH. For 5 seasons, Linville masterfully portrayed the incompetent, arrogant surgeon whose constant clashes with Hawkeye Pierce and the other doctors provided some of the show's funniest moments. Despite the character's unlikable nature, Linville's skilled performance made Frank Burns both detestable and somehow sympathetic, earning him widespread recognition and 5 Emmy nominations. After leaving MASH in 1977, Linville continued working steadily in television and film, appearing in shows like The Love Boat, Night Court, and Paper Dolls, along with his brief stint on Checking In. He remained active in the entertainment industry throughout the 1980s and 1990s, taking on various character roles that showcased his versatility as an actor. On April 10, 2000, Larry Linville died at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City from complications related to pneumonia and cancer. He was 60 years old and had been battling the disease for some time, having undergone surgery to remove a lung in 1998 after doctors discovered a malignant tumor. His death marked the end of a career that brought laughter to millions of viewers and demonstrated the power of great character acting to make even the most difficult people memorable and entertaining. John Anderson. John Anderson brought dignity and authority to the role of Mr. Claymore, the hotel owner in Checking In, even though his appearances were limited during the show's brief 4-episode run. Standing 6 feet 5.5 inches tall, with a commanding presence that naturally conveyed power and respectability, Anderson was perfectly cast as the man who owned the St. Frederick Hotel where Florence worked. His scenes with the main cast, particularly when dealing with the chaos that Florence's unconventional methods often created, showed his ability to play both stern authority and bemused observer with equal skill. Born John Robert Anderson on October 20, 1922, in Clayton, Illinois, he served in the United States Coast Guard during World War II, before pursuing his education and earning a master's degree in drama from the University of Iowa. Anderson's career began on Broadway, where he appeared in productions including the musical Paint Your Wagon in 1951, before transitioning to film and television work that would span more than 4 decades and include over 50 different projects. Anderson became one of television's most recognizable character actors, appearing in classic westerns like Gunsmoke, The Rifleman, and Have Gun Will Travel, as well as science fiction shows including 4 memorable episodes of The Twilight Zone. His strong resemblance to Abraham Lincoln led to him portraying the 16th president 3 different times throughout his career. Movie audiences knew him from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where he played the friendly used car salesman who helps Janet Leigh's character, and from many other films including Day of the Evil Gun and 8 Men Out. In his later years, Anderson had a recurring role on MacGyver as the title character's grandfather, Harry Jackson, which introduced him to a new generation of viewers. Throughout his long career, Anderson was known for his professionalism and versatility. Equally comfortable playing villains, lawmen, judges, and kindly father figures, adapting his imposing physical presence to fit whatever role the story required. He continued working steadily well into his 60s, taking on guest appearances and supporting roles that showcased his enduring talent and reliability as a performer. On August 7, 1992, John Anderson suffered a fatal heart attack at his home in Sherman Oaks, California, just 2.5 months before what would have been his 70th birthday. His death marked the end of a career that had touched virtually every corner of American entertainment, from the golden age of television westerns to modern crime dramas, leaving behind a legacy of solid, memorable performances that helped define what great character acting could accomplish. Ruth Brown. Ruth Brown brought her natural warmth and musical talent to the role of Betty, the floor supervisor and fellow maid working alongside Florence in Checking In. Even in this small television role, Brown's presence added authenticity and depth to the hotel's housekeeping staff, drawing on her own experiences of working various jobs during the lean years of her career. Her scenes showed the same genuine spirit and resilience that had made her a beloved figure in American music, and her chemistry with Marla Gibbs reflected the kind of supportive relationships that often developed between working women facing similar challenges. Born Ruth Alston Weston on January 12, 1928, in Portsmouth, Virginia, she grew up as the eldest of 7 children, in a strict religious household where her father directed the church choir but disapproved of secular music. Despite this opposition, Ruth was drawn to singing from an early age and secretly entered amateur night at Harlem's famous Apollo Theater, where she won first prize performing "It Could Happen to You." At 17, she ran away from home with trumpeter Jimmy Brown, whom she married, beginning a professional singing career that would eventually make her one of the most important voices in rhythm and blues history. Brown's recording career took off in 1949 when she signed with Atlantic Records and released "So Long," which became her first major hit. Throughout the 1950s, she dominated the rhythm and blues charts with classics like "Teardrops from My Eyes," 5, 10, 15 Hours, and "Mama, He Treats Your Daughter Mean," earning her the nickname Miss Rhythm, and helping establish Atlantic Records as a powerhouse in the music industry. Her success was so significant that the label became known as the house that Ruth built. But when musical tastes changed in the early 1960s, her career faded and she spent years working as a maid, bus driver, and teacher to support her 2 sons. Brown experienced a remarkable career renaissance beginning in the mid-1970s, returning to music and expanding into acting with roles in films like Hairspray and on Broadway, where she won a Tony Award in 1989 for her performance in the musical revue Black and Blue. She also won a Grammy Award for her jazz album Blues on Broadway, and became a passionate advocate for musicians' rights, helping establish the Rhythm and Blues Foundation to ensure that early R&B artists received proper compensation for their contributions to American music. On November 17, 2006, Ruth Brown died from complications following a heart attack and stroke at a Las Vegas area hospital. She was 78 years old and had suffered these medical emergencies after undergoing surgery the previous month. Her death marked the end of a remarkable life that had seen her rise from poverty to become one of the most influential singers in American music history, while also building a second successful career as an actress and advocate for her fellow performers. Alice Nunn. Alice Nunn appeared as Mrs. Sabatino in one episode of Checking In, bringing her natural ability to play memorable supporting characters to the short-lived series. Even in this brief appearance, Nunn demonstrated the kind of presence that made casting directors remember her and call her back for countless television shows and films throughout her career. Sabatino, likely a hotel guest or relative of the handyman Hank Sabatino, showcased her talent for creating instantly recognizable characters who felt real and lived in, even when they only appeared on screen for a few minutes. Born Alice Elizabeth Nunn on October 10, 1927, in Jacksonville, Florida, she showed an early interest in performing arts and participated in school productions, including a memorable turn in My Sister Eileen. After studying acting at Wesleyan University and taking classes with the American Theater Wing, Nunn began her professional career in radio before moving into theater work, where she appeared in New Faces of 1956 alongside future stars like Shelley Berman and Nancy Walker. This early-stage experience gave her the foundation she would need for a long career playing character roles across all forms of entertainment. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Nunn became a familiar face on television, appearing in popular shows like Petticoat Junction, Ironside, The Wild Wild West, and Camp Runamuck, where she played the memorable Mahala Mae Grunecker, head counselor at Camp Divine. Her film career included roles in Johnny Got His Gun, Mame, Airport 1975, and The Fury, usually playing authority figures, domestic workers, or eccentric supporting characters who added flavor and authenticity to whatever story they appeared in. Nunn's ability to disappear into these roles while still making each character distinct and memorable made her a sought-after character actress who worked steadily for over 3 decades. In 1985, just a few years before her death, Nunn landed the role that would make her most famous when director Tim Burton cast her as Large Marge, the ghostly truck driver in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Her terrifying transformation scene, where her face becomes distorted as she tells Pee-wee about a horrible accident, became one of the most memorable moments in the film and earned her a cult following that continues today. The role demonstrated Nunn's range and willingness to take on unusual challenges, even late in her career. On July 1, 1988, Alice Nunn died of cardiac arrest at her West Hollywood apartment after suffering a stroke. She was 60 years old and had been battling breast cancer for several years before her death. Her passing came just as Pee-wee's Big Adventure was gaining popularity and introducing her work to a new generation of fans, making her death particularly poignant for those who appreciated her unique contribution to American character acting and her ability to bring humanity to even the most unusual roles.